Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the incredible transformation happening in the world of pharmaceuticals. We're going to unpack how new technology is completely reshaping the complex journey our medicines take, all the way from the factory to the pharmacy. So think about this for a second. How do you actually protect a life-saving drug from counterfeiters? Or make sure a fragile vaccine stays at the perfect temperature as it travels across continents? This isn't just some academic puzzle. The pharma industry is under immense pressure, navigating this maze of global rules, and the stakes for patients, well, they couldn't be higher. To really get a handle on the solutions, we first have to appreciate just how big the problem is. Let's look at why this digital upgrade isn't just a nice-to-have anymore. It's become an absolute necessity for the industry to survive and thrive. You see, the industry is juggling three massive challenges all at once. First, guaranteeing that every single pill is authentic. Second, maintaining what's called the cold chain for super sensitive medicines. And third, all while complying with this tangled web of international regulations. A failure in any one of these areas can have absolutely devastating consequences for patients and for the companies themselves. So, what are the actual tools that companies are using to tackle these incredible challenges? This is where it gets really exciting. We're entering a new era, what a lot of people are calling Pharma 4.0. Okay, here's a look at the new digital toolkit. We're talking about some amazing stuff here. AI that can literally speed up the process of discovering new drugs. The Internet of Things, IoT, which uses tiny sensors for real-time monitoring. And then you've got these game changers like blockchain and digital twins. Each one plays a really specific, strategic role in building a supply chain that's smarter and a whole lot stronger.
Let's start with digital twins, because this is cool. Imagine you have a perfect virtual copy of your entire supply chain running on a computer. You can throw anything you want at it, a sudden port closure, a hurricane, a massive spike in demand, and see what happens. It's basically a flight simulator for your business, letting you test out decisions and plan for disaster without any of the real-world risk.
And then there's blockchain. Now, you've probably heard about it in the context of crypto, but here, its purpose is all about trust. It creates a digital record of a drug's journey that's secure, totally transparent, and, this is the key, it cannot be changed. It's like a public digital notary, making it almost impossible for fake drugs to get slipped into the supply chain. All right, so that's the theory. But what does this actually look like in a real world? Let's dive into some fascinating case studies of companies that are already putting these powerful tools to work. Let's talk about Moderna. Remember during the global vaccine rollout? They had this huge challenge of keeping their mRNA vaccines at incredibly cold temperatures. If the temperature fluctuated even a little, the vaccine could be useless. So what did they do? They put IoT-based temperature sensors everywhere, at every critical point of the journey, to monitor it in real time. And the result? Get this, a staggering 99.7% compliance rate in keeping that cold chain intact. Now that's not just some operational win, it meant way less vaccine was wasted. And most importantly, it meant patient safety was protected on a massive global scale. And that really gets to the core of it, right? This kind of real-time visibility isn't just about being efficient. It's a direct line to making sure the medicine that reaches a patient is safe and effective. It's a fundamental pillar of modern pharma logistics. Okay, so what about all those disruptions we were talking about earlier? The logistics giant GODs needed a way to plan for the chaos of an unpredictable world. So they turned to digital twin technology to simulate all kinds of different scenarios and basically stress test their entire supply chain. And their big takeaway was that this kind of modeling gives them the foresight to adapt, and adapt quickly. It builds resilience, making sure that critical medicines stay available even when the unexpected happens. It's really about shifting from being reactive to being proactive. So seeing these success stories is pretty inspiring. But how does a massive, highly regulated organization actually start this journey? It's definitely not as simple as just flipping a switch. Well, there's a structured 5-phase process. It all starts with having a clear vision and doing an honest assessment of where you are today. From there, you design a strategy. And then, this part is critical, you run a pilot program in a high-impact area to prove that the tech actually works. Only then do you scale it across the whole company, all while you're constantly monitoring and improving. But what does success actually look like when you crunch the numbers? And maybe just as important, what are the hidden dangers and the risks that companies need to look out for along the way? The data on the benefits is pretty compelling. For companies that do this right, we're seeing cost savings of over 20%. At the same time, they're slashing what are called quality deviations. Those are critical errors in manufacturing or handling by 15 to 20%. And check out the gap between the leaders and everybody else. The companies that are the most digitally mature, well, they aren't just a little bit better. They're achieving 1.75 times greater efficiency from their equipment. That is a huge competitive advantage.
But, and this is a big but, it's not all easy. Adopting something like AI brings some serious regulatory headaches. Regulators get nervous about so-called black box algorithms where it's not clear how a decision was made. You've also got the risk of bias being built into the system, and of course, massive data privacy concerns under laws like GDPR and HIPAA.
And it's a similar story with blockchain. Its greatest strength, the fact that the records are unchangeable, can actually clash with data privacy rules, like Europe's right to be forgotten. There just isn't a lot of clear guidance from regulatory agencies yet, and that creates a lot of uncertainty for companies trying to innovate. Which brings us to our final thought. The technology is here. It's powerful, it's proven, and it's getting better every single day. But the biggest challenge might not be technical at all. It might just be cultural, changing the long-established ways people think and work inside this incredibly important industry. That is the real transformation ahead.